Detroit city government is a service institution that recognizes its subordination to the people of Detroit. The city shall provide for the public peace, health, and safety of persons and property within its jurisdictional limits. The people have a right to expect aggressive action by the city's officers in seeking to advance, conserve, maintain, and protect the integrity of the human, physical, and natural resources of the city from encroachment and or dismantlement. The people have a right to expect city government to provide for its residents decent housing, job opportunities, reliable, convenient, and comfortable transportation, recreational facilities and activities, cultural enrichment, including libraries, art and historical museums, clean air and waterways, safe drinking water, and a sanitary, environmentally sound city. Keep it locked. The Black Detroit Democracy Podcast starts right after these messages.
Detroit 1 Million is a journalism project started by Sam Robinson that centers a generation of Michiganders growing up in a state without a city with 1 million people. Support the only independent reporter covering the 2025 Detroit mayoral race through the lens of young people. Good journalism costs. Visit Detroit1million.com to support Black independent reporting.
Detroit, welcome to the Black Detroit Democracy Podcast. Every week, we open this podcast with a reading of the preamble to the Detroit City Charter, read by the one and only Bryce Detroit. The City Charter is our constitution, which defines our rights and the way government should work. I'm Donna Gibbons-Davidson, President and CEO of the Eastside Community Network.
I'm Sam Robinson, founder of Detroit 1 Million.
Thank you for listening in and supporting our expanded effort to build another platform of authentic voices for real people in the city of Detroit. We want you to like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on all platforms. The purpose of this podcast is to encourage Detroit citizens to stay vigilant in the fight for justice and equality, with a special call to action for Black Detroit. We seek to build awareness of our history as a gateway to freedom, a beacon for justice, and a laboratory of liberation. Today, we have a very special guest with us who brings a perspective that often gets overlooked. Kenneth Russell is a rising junior at Southeastern High School and a member of Vaulted Youth Voices, our youth podcasting program. Kenneth, welcome to the Black Detroit Democracy Podcast.
It's good to be back.
Okay, how are you today?
Hot. Very hot.
Yeah, it's 85 out here.
Yes.
And wearing the blue jean jackets. It's not cool.
So why are you in a blue jean
I
jacket?
got my jacket on too.
I wanted to make my outfit look aesthetic, especially with the uniform.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I was in a rush this morning. I wasn't really thinking about the heat.
Well, they say beauty is pain, pain is beauty. You had a look that you had to achieve. Because in addition to being with Vaulted Youth Voices, you are part of the Eastside Youth Collective, and this summer you're part of our workforce.
Mm-hmm. This is my second year.
Yeah. Tell me about the work that you're doing.
Right now, we just got done with our small group type of activities for the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I believe next week we go into our mini internships.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that part because I get to work in the different departments and being able to stretch out a little bit more.
Okay.
Probably find some more opportunities too while I'm at it.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. Well, we're excited to have you here. And we were just talking before we started about this being Christmas in July on July 25th. Talk about it.
Yeah, this week we are going to learn how much money Detroit mayoral candidates and candidates for city council and several candidates for statewide office, how much money they have in their campaign accounts. July 25 is the state filing deadline, so on Thursday night at 11:58 p.m., I'm going to be open my Twitter on my laptop and on the Wayne County Kathy Garrett website.
Yeah.
You know, Kathy Garrett's website, the Wayne County campaign finance site, is like the only county campaign finance site of its kind, really, in the state. I don't know why that is, but a very smart guy named Simon Schuster, he used to be the director of Michigan Campaign Finance Network. Neil Tanadar is the director now, Sherie's son. He tells me that it's a really good software that Kathy has going, and so I just wanted to say that because I didn't know that Wayne County was unique in that they have their own whole campaign finance system.
I didn't either. That's interesting.
That's online. Every county has its own, campaign finance
tracking.
Yes, but what happens in Detroit and Wayne County is very similar to what happens on, say, the federal website, FEC, the Federal Election Commission, or the state of Michigan. Jocelyn Benson's site that she's getting a lot of criticism for right now because some of the functions of that site are down.
Yeah, well, Wayne County's is not. And, just like
it
on
works.
Christmas, do you remember waking up on Christmas Eve at 11:59 and wanting to go search out your gifts, or was that just me and my family?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, I would go out there at like maybe 2 a.m. in the morning. My parents knew to, not do it before I was, and so I think they kept Santa up for a while. How long did you go with Santa? Is Santa still real? Probably not for you.
No. I gave up on Santa after
That's probably
I was
been a
7.
good 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, like I was 7. I went downstairs one time to my mom wrapping gifts. I'm like, where's Santa? He's like, oh, he's in the next room eating his cookies. I go in the next room and I see my dad eating the cookies and the almond milk I left out.
Wow.
I was like,
was that devastating?
yes. And they was drinking my favorite milk. They took the normal milk from out the living room where the cookies were and poured almond milk there. I'm like, so y'all gonna take my milk? And then say Santa drunk it, so y'all can drink it.
Oh, so your milk was the almond milk? Or
I like almond milk. I don't really drink lactate.
Okay, I thought you might be special like that. You are not your normal teenager. You have almond milk, and you have to wear a blue jean jacket to differentiate yourself from your 38 colleagues.
It's going good. I like the Air Maxes too.
Oh yeah, you are
Air
definitely.
Maxes. What are these model? What is this?
I don't know. My uncle gave me these.
Oh well, I like those.
Those are nice. And they kind of match the blue. Kind of matches the blue in your jacket.
I can't go nowhere without it matching at least. The only thing that's probably not going to be matching is my socks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I wish Orlando was here because I saw Orlando on Saturday and he said, I didn't have enough time to really get dressed. But if you had seen the way that the 3 colors in his T-shirt were matching the 3 colors in his gym shoes, I was like, but you made sure that you coordinated, didn't you? I think even he had the hat going on. I just loved the look. But no, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed and or excited because this website is not just going to tell you how much people made, but where they got their money from. And it helps you to understand how many small dollar donations people got, meaning they got it from people in the city of Detroit. How many donations came from Detroiters versus people outside the city of Detroit? And so I will be up either at 11:59 on Thursday or very early in the morning, waking up after my going to sleep on Friday, just trying to crunch those numbers because I think that's part of the disclosure that we need.
So wait, do they get their so are you talking about like donations from like them funding their elections? I mean their campaign, or like donations going back into like small businesses?
No, don't people who donated to each candidate's campaign.
Okay.
Their campaign reports are due on the 25th, and then they'll be available. I think the cutoff period was the 20th, which was Sunday.
Yeah.
And so every campaign donation from January 1st until July 20th, I believe, will be documented. And when somebody gives, it's not just the name of the person, but the amount that they gave and also their address. And that helps you to understand a number of things. Now, there's dark money contributions to campaigns where you may not be able to get as much detail, but it's important to understand that too. So I'm excited. I think it's important. It's almost as exciting as August the 5th.
Yeah, it is. If you guys want to see it for yourself, WayneCountyMI.gov. If you just click, if you type in Wayne County Campaign Finance to Google, one of the first results is going to be the Wayne County site, and it's going to say elections. You're going to click on elections. It's going to take you. You'll see Kathy Garrett's profile photo, and you'll scroll down, overview. You'll get to a little pop-up that says campaign finance, and it'll ask you, you're leaving the website, yes. And now when you get onto the campaign finance website, it's kind of tricky. You're going to go to that left panel, and you're going to click on View Filed Reports. You're going to click Continue, and then that will show you. You can type in the committee name. So if you want to see how much Mary Sheffield has raised in her campaign, you'll type in Mary Sheffield and the Mary Sheffield committee name. It'll be something like Friends of Solomon Kinloch, or Detroit for Fred Durhal for Detroit, or Friends of Gabby Santiago Romero. And that's how you find it. I wish that somebody had told me how to do this when I began being a reporter.
It took me a while to figure it out. I really think you doing a YouTube tutorial,
that would be a good
such
idea.
a nice job. Why don't we get you to do a YouTube tutorial? We'll put it on our Facebook page, because people really do need to know this information. It's public information. Knowledge is power, and it really helps us make our decisions. Unfortunately, a lot of times what we get is cherry-picked by newspaper reporters who have an agenda.
Yes.
And my only agenda is knowledge. I don't know that knowing this is going to sway how I'm going to vote, but it will help me understand who's supporting who and how. But, word on the street, there's a new poll out.
Yeah, I see all the polls. The polls have been so wrong, but they are a snapshot of where voters are, where a select few of voters are. And the newest poll, Sunteal Jenkins was celebrating this morning on her social media sites. Why is that?
I don't think it's a big surprise, though.
No.
I think a lot of us thought that Sunteal Jenkins was rising in the polls.
Yeah, she's battling for that 2 spot with Solomon Kinloch. A lot of people think it's a toss-up. A lot of people in the neighborhoods don't, and I want to.
When you say that the people in the neighborhoods don't think it's a toss-up, what do you mean?
There is a real fervor around these polls as it pertains to the Kinloch crew. All of his Facebook supporters, they are really, questioning the credibility of some of these polls. Sometimes, fair or unfair. The polls are representative of, I think, 400 or 500 respondents. It's important to know the methodology. I think some of these polls had margins of errors of 4 or 5. So the polls aren't fake, guys. These polls are actual polls. It's not somebody trying to...
The polls are people picking up the phone,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And the polls are dependent on people picking up the phone. Now, nobody's called me, and when I get numbers that call me and I don't recognize the number, I'm not answering the phone. So the polls really are biased towards people who would answer a phone call from somebody you don't know and then not hang up as soon as you hear the person asking questions. That said, it is a temperature check. It gives you some sense of momentum, even if it doesn't give you the exact numbers. And I think what it could demonstrate for some people is what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that Sunteal Jenkins has momentum going into this primary. I've heard that unofficially, even before this poll came out. Some of the other things that were interesting in the polls were some of the subgroups that were supporting Mary Sheffield, Sunteal Jenkins, and Solomon Kinloch. Because now, Fred Durhal is rising too. I think in this poll, he rose to about 6%.
Yeah, that was after the Detroit Regional Chamber endorsed Fred. Yeah. It's interesting. James Craig seems to have completely slipped away.
We kind of figured that was going to happen. First of all, there was a ceiling to the number of people who would support him. Mm-hmm. True story, I was at the African World Festival on Sunday. And as we were exiting, this lady was standing there with a clipboard. And she says, well, I want to sell you my poetry. And I was like, I don't have any cash. And so she says, okay, well, otherwise, would you sign this petition for John James for governor? And I was like, hell no. And so it was just a reaction like, why are you even asking me this? So I think that she's trying to trick people into this through sympathy or something, like buy my poetry and or sign this petition. But I think John James and James Craig have a limit to how much support they're going to get in our city. When I looked on the petition, she only had about 3 or 4 names. We really do take this stuff seriously, especially in a year like this where Blackness is under attack and where, Black history is no longer being allowed to be talked about or taught in schools in the same way. And you're having Black statues and monuments replaced by, Civil War heroes from the South.
Did y'all hear about the Martin Luther King statue? Trump actually removed it from the White House.
Right.
I saw that on like 12 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, why is he taking this out? That's like a very monumental feat.
He's got to fit more gold inside the Oval Office there. You didn't see that? How he's putting everything in
But
gold.
how did that make you feel when you saw that?
It made me feel like some crap was finna happen. Because if like you're taking... Because first you take away the right for us not to get discriminated from jobs. Because remember, he took away that...
all the civil rights protections.
Yeah, all the civil rights protections for us getting jobs and stuff. Then you're taking away the school board and removing the way how Black history is taught. Then you take Martin Luther King's statue from out the White House, and that's making me feel like that we're gonna go back to like segregation because you're taking away Black monumental artifacts and stuff that we worked for.
I mean, we are still segregated, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about
And but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like
I think
split.
I think that we are still a segregated nation. Black people remain the most segregated people in America. And we live in one of the most segregated communities in America, right? So segregation is a thing. I think he's going to have limits to what he can do. Apparently, a lot of what he's doing is increasingly unpopular. And so his polls are shrinking. Now, that won't matter because he doesn't care. He lives in his own malignant, narcissistic world where truth doesn't matter. But midterm elections are coming up in 2026. And what may happen is you may actually get a Congress that's willing to check some of that power and push back on that. I don't know that most Americans, I'm not talking about some of the diehard MAGA people who, specialize in hate, but I don't think most Americans want to go back to those days. I think that he is over, hope, and this is just my optimism, and my optimism could be really misplaced. I try to stay in an optimistic space, especially with young people. I don't want you to feel hopeless or defeated by these actions because any action can be reversed, especially if the majority of people want it. But that also reminds me of the need to get people like you involved, Kenneth. The reason some of this is possible is because so many people have checked out of the electoral process that when he ran in 2024, many people who could have shown up didn't. And I'll give it a number. We talked about this last week, but not with you. For every one person under the age of 30 who voted in 2024, there were 10 people over the age of 60 who voted in 2024 in the city of Detroit. One person under age of 30, my voice is 10 times more powerful than Sam's when it comes to a political calculus. I'm not saying that should be true. I'm not saying that is true. But my question to you is, how do we get more young people engaged in the process? You are extraordinarily engaged.
We was just talking about something like this when we had our little mini project called Build Your Own Country. And in my group's project, when we had our Build Your Own Country, we added a law, and this is just an example, and I'm going to explain on that after. We had a law that people from 16 and up can vote, but if you want to vote at 16, you'll have to take a class. You have to take a class in order to do proper research on voting before you can vote. Now, coming back to what you just said about how there's only one person under the age of 30 who voted in the city of Detroit, what I'll say is if we were to expand the knowledge of voting and the research of voting so we can understand the candidates, we should be able to incorporate that into schools or at least have a program for you to go to so we can understand the process of voting, how to do proper research, and to think about it on a wider scale than to just say, oh, I'm going to just vote for them because their ideals seem good to me. And then afterwards, they get in office, it's not what you think.
I think a lot of people don't trust democracy works. I think a lot of people think if I vote or I don't vote, it really doesn't matter. And I hear that a lot from young people. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, oh, a vote is a vote. I'm gonna just vote because I just want to be a part of something. But like, yeah, that's you voting is doing something good because you're making yourself known in the election. But like, you got to have a meaning behind your vote and what ideal you want. Because if you vote for something, you want something out of that person that they're trying to give to you, or you want something that you like something the person's doing. You can't just vote to say, "Oh, I'm gonna just vote."
Well, a lot of people will say, "I'm not going to vote because they're not going to do anything for me anyway. They don't care about me anyway." And I think people who are my age tend to be insensitive to that, right? I hear a lot of people my age, a lot of black women my age especially, who are my peers. I'm not going to say my age because it's also my peers, employed black women who have college degrees, whatever. It's a difference, right? Describing ourselves as the 92% and being very self-congratulatory about that. But we know that when people run for office, they care about us at least a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. To be running, at least.
When they want our votes, and they actually go out and try to get our votes. I think very few candidates actually even know what young people want to see a politician do, number one. And number two, I think a lot of people think that young people don't vote anyway, so I don't care about what they have to say.
And when you got statistics to back it up, right? I mean, why would they spend their time and energy to a base that isn't going to go out, is the calculus that a lot of campaigns make during their strategy. Kenneth, I think it's interesting you said before we went on, my friends want the next mayor to, what did you say?
Not at a 13th grade.
No, there was something else too. You said that they wanted to give us an extra day off of school.
Oh yeah, extra days of school, or to give us less days of school.
Less days of school.
It gives us more time to study, but who's actually going to study?
Right. Can I ask you, the UK plans to lower its voting age to 16. You mentioned that there was a discussion you were having on whether or not your peers feel like in America it should be lowered to the age 16. What do you think?
I think it should, because like 16 you're at the halfway point before you're an actual adult, and that's when your voice starts to have more of an impact. You're able to work, you're able to file taxes. You have an ID, so you're in the system all the way. So it's like being able to vote at a younger age, it gives us more of a variety to vote in those kind of systems, because then you'll have more of a population to see who want one and who doesn't want one. Because like older people, most people won't vote, but like if you have a kid, like if I have to vote, you have to vote. So it's like, if I do it, you do it kind of process, but it also teaches the children how to properly vote and do their research on the candidates.
Yeah, there's a writer, her name's Rachel Jonfaza. She has a really good Substack. It's called The Up and Up, and she studies the behaviors of Gen Z. She actually just wrote about this 23 hours ago. She posted this on Tuesday. Voting at 16, why Gen Z isn't all in. She talked to a number of American high schoolers who said they actually don't feel like 16-year-olds should be able to vote, and they'll give you examples as to why. There's a lot of people that really doom and gloom in the future of our country and state and city. I don't think that's really fair to the Gen Alpha kids and the Gen Z kids, because I think they got a lot of potential.
Oh, absolutely. I think that I love young voters. I love young people, and I think young people are smart, optimistic, have lots of ideas. Ageism is a thing. This idea that my generation was better than your generation, I'm better than you because you're young and I'm older, and I was there when Martin Luther King was marching and you weren't. It's silly. It's ridiculous, and it's sad. You hear it with music, right? Oh, nobody is making music like they used to make. No, they're making music like they make now, right? Things change. Ideas modernize, and the problem with ageism is that we don't know everything. And to the extent I know things, it's only because I have friends like Sam, and I talk to people like you, and I have my children, and I'm willing to learn from you. There are things we just don't understand. I remember when the Black Lives Matter initiative started. And there's so many people my age who are saying things like, oh, I hope these young people aren't violent. You know, Martin Luther King was nonviolent. And he's like, well, he was nonviolent, but the police weren't. You see those fire hoses and the dogs that are sicked on them? This idea that, well, if they only dress better. And it's like, okay, Martin Luther King was executed wearing a suit. Right? You can't dress your way out of racism. You can't nonviolent your way out of violence in a world where violence is how people gain power. And so I think we have a way of turning things around against young people where we see ourselves as being superior. You need to learn from me. You know, back in the day, we had tactics and we had strategies. But back in the day, guess what?
You didn't have YouTube.
Martin Luther King was 26 years old when he ran the Birmingham bus boycott. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Council was college students who were running freedom riders, who were doing the sit-ins, who were registering voters. This idea that it was old folks doing that, it was never old folks. And you know what old folks were doing back in those days?
Complaining.
Oh, you rabble rousers, you need to stop messing that up. If you've ever read Martin Luther King's letter from the Birmingham jail, he talks about why not now? Why now? Because there were people telling him, first of all, why are you in my city? And why are you pressing this? We're making progress. And he talked about the dangers of incrementalism. The real challenge is that what we don't learn is, you know, I asked young people when I was talking to our young workers yesterday, I said, how old was Martin Luther King when he led the Birmingham bus boycott? One person got it right. Most people said, well, he was in his 30s or he was in his 40s. I said, he was killed at 39. You look at, if you're Christian, how old was Jesus when Jesus started the movement of, the Christianity, well, we now call Christianity, when he started a movement of faith. And how old was he when he died? How old was Malcolm X? When we look at history, young people have always been not just part of the solution, the people who have the ideals and the energy and the courage to go out and fight for something different. And so I don't just want young people to vote because it's nice and inclusive. I actually think that if we're going to save our planet, it's because young people are going to be in charge.
Because we're behind y'all because y'all don't got too much longer. And
no, I have plenty of time.
Not
I
you,
have
Donna.
plenty of time.
Not you, Donna. Not you. I'm just saying, like statistically wise, like our generation is coming up, and we have more of an impact going for us in the long run because what we do from this point on is going to impact the world around us.
Exactly.
Especially with the whole war situation, the majority of us is going to get drafted.
No, you'll
be okay.
You're right. But you're right. I mean, it is young people who are at risk of being drafted. It's young people who are at risk of every consequence of climate change. People are predicting by 2050 this is going to happen. Well, 2050, I pray I'm still here, but I'll be like 90 something, right? The reality is that that for me, the stakes are different than for you, except that, I have grandchildren. I want my grandchildren to be able to have what I had. I want them to be able to have children. And so a lot of us care. I'm not going to condemn everybody my age, but I think the stakes are very different for you. I think that we have also got to unlearn a whole lot of things that we learned as young people. We grew up in a world without YouTube, without the internet, without a whole lot of things. And so the ability of TV to propagandize certain things was really, really great. And it's declining now. Now, sometimes you have people saying crazy stuff on social media and crazy stuff on YouTube, but there's a multiplicity of voices that I was not exposed to when I was young. Mm-hmm. And so you have access to information, and that's why we need you to vote. I don't know if for me, getting 16-year-olds to vote is a priority. I just want 18-year-olds to vote.
Yeah, but teaching people under 18 how to vote properly should be pushed more because voting is only talked about briefly in between high school and it starts to become a topic in early middle school. So it being more, what's the word? Well,
we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, I want you to talk about what you're learning about civics, about history and voting and democracy in school. And I want you to explain to me whether or not what you're learning is what you're actually seeing when you look at the world. So we'll take a break and be right back.
Have you ever dreamed of being on the airwaves? Well, the Authentically Detroit Podcast Network is here to make those dreams come true. Formerly known as the Deep Network and located inside the Stoudemire, the Authentically Detroit Podcast Network offers studio space and production staff to help get your idea off of the ground. Just visit authenticallydet.com and send a request through the contact page. Interested in renting space for corporate events, meetings, conferences, social events, or resource fairs? The MASH Detroit Small Business Hub is a 6,000 square feet space available for members, residents, and businesses and organizations. To learn more about rental options at MASH Detroit, contact Nicole Perry at nperry@ecn-detroit.org or 313-331-3485.
All right, we're back with Kenneth Russell, a high school student at Southeastern High School, one of our most active and strong leaders in this community, youth leaders in this community. Kenneth, what are you learning about democracy and government at Southeastern?
First, I'm going to shout out my amazing civic/economics teacher, Miss Z. She teaches us how the system works and how the build-up between the civic system? I'm trying to remember. It's a split class. Civics. Yep. So she explains us how the system works and how when we vote and gives us a certain impact to it. And how when we don't put our impact into it, it's like, how can I explain? I can't really think.
Shout out DPSCD, though. I really appreciate it when I hear students at schools like Southeastern shouting out teachers who are doing a beautiful job of educating you, because the propaganda is that you're not learning anything. So this is a teacher who's really helped to educate you and helped, give you a point of view. What are some important things you've learned in her class?
The important things I learned is like how the government system works. Is how, like, for example, you own private property, right? And the government will come out of nowhere and take your private property from you and then try to throw money in your face. Like, here's some money for
Eminent domain.
Yes, eminent domain.
Yeah.
When I heard about that for the first time, it's like, so you're telling me I could go in the middle of nowhere and buy a patch of land and call it my home. And they only build a factory on top of it. Like, here's some money. We'll let you go somewhere else.
That happens to people. They're trying to build solar farms. The city of Detroit is, and they're offering folks money to buy the parcel.
That's something I don't like, especially with the Black Bottom situation. When we was talking about that, how Black Bottom had all these varieties of businesses, communities, and people within it that helps everybody. And it's like we're all a big family. It takes a village to raise a child type of situation. So then when they gave everybody money to move out of them homes,
They didn't give everybody money.
No, not everybody.
They didn't give most people money. I just wanted to set the record straight, because it would be great if they gave everybody money. The Pole Town plant, everybody got money.
Yeah, the Pole Town.
Black Bottom, they're
No.
like, see ya. If you did not own property, you didn't get money. And if you did own property, a lot of times you didn't get money for the full value of your property. Mm-hmm. And at that time, think about this. There were only certain neighborhoods where Black people were allowed to live. Mm-hmm. Not because of the government saying you can't live here, but because people had restrictive covenants on their deeds that said you cannot sell this house or rent this house to a Black person. And so where Black people lived in Detroit largely followed where Jewish people were leaving, right? So we ended up in Virginia Park, right? Mm-hmm. Our businesses were closed in Black Bottom. Think about this. Businesses were closed in Black Bottom, not just, shoe stores and places like that, but we had a lot of nightclubs and places you could hang out. We had a hotel, the Gotham Hotel in Black Bottom, where jazz singers used to come. Those businesses closed. Now, where are you going to hang out? You don't have the YMCA closed, right?
You can't go out
Your
to where
church
them white people
closed.
be at, because if you do, then you either going to get killed or you're going to get discriminated.
Or if you are even standing on the street, 1967, you're standing on 12th Street, which is now Rosa Parks Boulevard. You could get stopped and arrested for loitering and vagrancy just for standing while being Black.
Your presence alone.
Let's talk about what happened in July of 1967, right? These people were in a space that did not have a liquor license because most of the spaces that had liquor license had been taken from us. But they're in a space that did not have a liquor license, celebrating the return of a person who was coming home from a war that they were drafted and forced to fight in Vietnam. The community comes out and celebrates. There's 70 or 80 people. It's called a blind pig. So the police go up in this space and they say, we're arresting everybody here. We're arresting every person who joined here. We're arresting the person downstairs who cooked for them. You're going to jail. The problem was they didn't know how many people were there, I think. And so they didn't have a big enough paddy wagon to put everybody in the paddy wagon. While they were standing there waiting to transport these people to jail, somebody started throwing things at the police, which ignited a rebellion. And people say, well, they were gathered in an illegal space. Legal spaces had been decimated in Detroit. The illegality, why have we made spaces illegal for people to come together? That is part of the problem. But you're absolutely right about the eminent domain piece. And so often, eminent domain is used against Black people and other people of color. They called it urban renewal. And we called it what? Do you know, did your teacher tell you that? Negro removal. That's what people said. This is Negro removal. Because that's what was done. I-75, not just in Black Bottom, not just I-375, all of I-75 and many of the freeways were built straight through neighborhoods that were occupied by predominantly Black populations, right? My great-great-grandmother owned a house on the I-75, what would have been I-75 near McNichols. That got taken. We lost our property, and it's the stripping away of our wealth without compensation that is so problematic, right? And they tell us, oh, you guys should start businesses.
We started a business, and y'all destroy it right after.
Right.
Especially, and it's like in one of them big open spaced areas. Like, you know what? Let's build a road right here or a factory. Here's some money, or if you don't go here, we're gonna force you out. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's very inconsiderate for the people and for the environment because you're gonna destroy properties and then try and clean it up to the best of your ability, then throw a factory or a road right on top of it. You're messing up the ecosystem.
Oh, they kind of did that with the Kinda Creek Greenway, right? And St. Jean. But Sam, you grew up in Midland? Did I get that right?
That's right.
Okay. You grew up in Midland. What did you learn about government?
I learned that there are 3 branches. And they had us I remember 3rd grade, Richard Bernstein, he is the blind brother of Sam Bernstein. You know the Bernstein family because you see the TV ads. He is a Supreme Court justice today, but 20 years ago, I don't know what he was doing, probably just being an attorney. I remember he came and talked to us once. I went to school with the daughter of Congressman John Molinar, and through that, John would come into our classes. He's a Republican, mid-Michigan congressman. He would come to our class and talk to us about government, how it worked. What did we learn about government in Midland? Oh, my gosh. I don't know. I mean, I had a ton of good teachers. I had a lot of bad teachers, too. I will never forget this. And I wanted to tell her, you don't even understand, your own question because Obama's not a socialist. But I had this one racist, conservative teacher. I will leave her name out of this episode. She once hooked up with a former student after he graduated 2 years afterward when he was 19 years old. So I'll leave her name out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, just right there on air. Keep that part in it, though, so I can send it to my Midland friends. They all know who I'm talking about. On a test once, she put, is President Barack Obama based on these things? Is he more of a capitalist, a socialist, a something, or a something? I think it was communist or something else. And I think the correct answer was socialist, and I was just in 11th grade, and I was just you're so stupid. And I told her that. She did not like me. I had really good teachers that really hated Midland conservatism. the conservatism that existed in Midland was kind of like a Rick Snyder, smart, like Gresham Whitmer won the city of Midland. That was, I think, the first Democratic governor to win in Midland in like 50 or 60 years. So they didn't really they don't like Trump all that much. I mean, certainly outside of the city, in the rural, Sanford or Larkin Township or whatever in Midland County, the rural townships, is big Trump. But in the city, it was definitely split. You definitely had this vein of liberalism that came from the history of Alden B. Dow, the famous architect who studied under Frank Lloyd Wright. Midland High and Dow High had a combined theory of knowledge class that was held at his master work home and studio, where there's in his backyard, they call it Dow Gardens, and everybody gets their prom and homecoming pictures shot there. Midland is definitely a place where all of the teachers at the high school level have master's degrees. And so I was very fortunate to go there. It's people will send their kids from wherever township to go to Midland Public Schools. They champion it as one of the best public school systems in the state. Is it actually that? I don't know anymore. But yeah, I learned about
I always wonder
politics in Midland.
When you look at those barometers, it's like, what are you learning in school? So many times you can learn factual information, but you don't necessarily learn things that are useful to you as a black person.
Right.
You don't necessarily learn your history. You don't necessarily learn your pride. And a lot of times I feel as though what some of those good schools communicate is black inferiority.
Yeah.
And so black students get marginalized inside of these really good school systems. And then it's like, oh, I guess those kids don't care about school, or they put labels on them. You saw that with my kids in their high school. They were not in the remedial classes, but most of their classmates were. My son was in 10th grade. He's going into 10th grade. He said, I just want to take regular classes. I don't want to take these honors classes. And I was like, baby, when you look in the mirror, as long as a black man is looking back, you do not want regular, okay? Because that is treating you like you're inferior. And unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Oh, yeah, it
But
was.
it
I was in
sounds
all the
like-
regular classes, and that was definitely you got looked down on. And get this, the 3 levels of the school, they would literally put the 0.2, is how we call it, 0.2, 0.3, and then you had AB, IB. We certainly had IB at Midland High. The 0.2 classes would be at the bottom. And my basketball coach, shout out to him, Eric Krause, math teacher, he would call it out, for what it was. He was this white guy that would, rub the executive class parents the wrong way, basketball coach. So you could imagine his perspective.
But I'm really excited about Kenneth, because Kenneth, you're learning stuff that's useful to you. And I hope that you take that and hold on to it and discard messages about the inferiority of Detroit public schools, because your teachers, at least some of them, are caring about that. And I think we don't always evaluate the importance of that. When I grew up in Detroit was mostly black city. It was almost all black. I mean, neighborhoods, most of the schools in neighborhood schools were. And students there didn't necessarily get high test scores. But a lot of those students didn't have high test scores, went to college, and got really good jobs.
Right.
Test scores do not determine your intelligence,
No, they don't.
or your future, or your pathway.
Nor does your GPA. I had a counselor one time tell me, because my GPA went under a 3. I was like a sophomore in high school, and I got a C in 2 classes, and she's like, if you want to get into a good school, you're not gonna. And it's like, what? They were trying to doom and gloom me, man. They were trying to tell me that I wasn't gonna do nothing.
They told my husband that he could not do anything but woodwork. So we've made progress. They told him he couldn't go to college. He could not. He was able to do woodwork. He was not college material.
Yeah.
And yes, he did get his bachelor's degree from the College of Creative Studies, which was really hard to get in. And I'm so proud of him for pushing beyond that, like so many students in my day did. But now, the way test scores are used, I think it discourages students. It makes them feel like, oh, there must be something wrong with you. Test scores are inherently racist and biased. They do not communicate intelligence. And I want everybody to know that, because so many people begin to think and internalize those things. So a school that doesn't have great test scores is not looked at as a good school. you are learning how to learn in school.
Yeah.
And I bet you have learned more now than you have when you were in college, just through doing work.
Oh yeah, way more. I mean, I could imagine like actually doing journalism. I always think about that. Like, I didn't really need to go to school to do this. You just continue doing it, and you learn new things every day.
Or you talk to people,
Yeah.
and you learn from them. I was a CD student in high school, but I tested well. I'm a reader. People who read a lot test well. So I'm a reader. I tested well, right? But I was a CD student.
You didn't like doing the homework or what?
Oh, I just hated them. I went to Mercy High School, majority white, all-girls school in the suburbs. I was called the N-word my first day of school, and I was like always in protest mode.
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say I was a CD student, but I tested well. But it had no reflection on my intelligence in my C's and D's. I used to call D's Donnas. Listen, I was like not taking this seriously at all.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And so I did well on the ACT, and some of my classmates found out, and they reported me. And they said, there's no way this loser could test that well. And so my counselor called me in and said, Donna, you tested really well, but your grades don't reflect that. Did you cheat or get lucky? This is my high school counselor. Only time I ever talked to her. And I said, I don't know. Option 3, I'm an underachiever. And so I was so angry with her. I say racism got me into college because I was so angry with her. I decided I was going to get all A's on everything I did to show her that I could do this. And I don't even think she cared. But but it just, I'm the same person. The same girl who got D's got A's. The same person who got this grade point average is a judge. The same person who got this grade point average is a doctor. So I hope what you're learning is how brilliant you are.
And I was always taught that the school doesn't make the student makes the school. So it's like you can't, people who say, oh, I go to Cass Tech and blah, blah, split. You can go to Cass Tech and be dumb as bricks.
I've seen it. I know a lot of those folks. Not yet.
You absolutely can. This idea that schools make you smart, I tell people this all the time, schools don't make you smart, God made you smart. You were born smart. You were born with intelligence. Schools help teach you skills, but they do not, God gave you these skills. Our ancestors, at least some of them, were not even allowed to read. Mm-hmm. Our ancestors, at least some of them, were not allowed to do math. Our ancestors, at least some of them, had to pretend that they did not know what they knew in order to save their lives. And they were as gifted, as intelligent as we are. The difference is they didn't have a chance to express it. And so I think one of the ways that we're raised in America, especially young black, generations of people not raised in enslaved circumstances, is to believe somehow that because I went to this school, I'm better than my grandmother. And I'm here to say, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not greater than these great grandparents were smart. They were doing things. They made your life possible. You're in these schools. You get what you can from the school, and I'm so proud of you for having what you have. Where do you learn outside of school?
What you mean?
Where do you get your information outside of school? Do you read?
I read news articles.
That's good. Where do you read them on?
Either on CNN or
like on a social media platform.
Yeah,
Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram and Twitter.
Do you subscribe to Detroit 1 Million?
I don't know what that is.
You're right.
I look on News One Detroit.
I suggest you go to Substack and you start looking at some of the independent journalists on Substack. It's an app you can download. It's one that I absolutely love. And Sam Robinson is on Substack.
I am, yeah. Can I ask, streamers? Are you watching people on YouTube? Who are your favorite people to watch?
Besides myself.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Slow right now. I'm back to doing my videos. I just uploaded one recently last week. Today I have to go home after this and record. And then I got to sit these next couple days editing. I made my thumbnail.
So tell us about your YouTube channel, though.
My YouTube channel consists of gaming, soon-to-be reactions, voice acting, and I am going to probably, because I'm already writing a book / a movie, so I want to finish that up and then try and get it made into a comic book of some sorts. and they get it illustrated as either an animated TV show or a live action adaptation.
That'd be sick. Do all those things now while you can. I wish I would have started started writing my book when I was 16. I could have been done by now. Who are you? Who are the people that you're inspired by? Like content creators or streamer people?
Kai Snack, Corey Kenshin, and what's his name? Kagi Films.
Do you like Speed?
Yes. Oh my God.
You like Speed?
I bless his soul every time I see him on WWE.
Music artists.
Dizzy 8, Divide Music, 1,000 Foot Crutch, and Sleep Theory.
All right. And then, I don't know any of those artists. You finally got me, man. I don't know any of those. What genre? Tell the people, what is this?
For like the majority of them, besides like 1,000 Foot Crutch set it off in, what was it, Sleep Theory, those are rock.
Okay.
Rock / Christian rock. Okay. And then the other people I named before them, they're like nerdcore / Christian.
Okay. Who are your friends listening to? Like, what are the music artists in
the majority
11th
of
grade?
the stuff?
I know, but like say them.
Skilla Baby.
Right.
The Baby.
Da Baby. Skilla Baby's way better than Da Baby.
I can agree with you.
I know. Tay B Freestyle, you know that one? Yeah.
like music like that, it's like repetitive to me.
Yeah.
So I don't like listen to it, but like
Little Baby.
Oh my God, too many babies.
Right. There's Baby Osama, I like her.
Oh my God.
I just want to say this. I'm hearing the Christian influence, and your church, your pastor.
Shout out Pastor Ellison.
Pastor Brian Ellison, and he's like my brother. We really grew up together. Our fathers were best friends. There were 5 Ellison boys and 4 Givens girls, and we spent so much time together. We were like cousins. And so, I love him, and we share so much thinking. So I'm glad. I was so happy to hear you went to his church.
Yeah, I haven't been in a minute. I'm actually supposed to be getting baptized soon. So I'm going to try and go this weekend.
Well, let me know when you get baptized, because I'm going to come and see it.
Yeah, I gotta see when he's ready. I gotta get in contact.
That's
with him.
sick. I wish I was cognizant for that. I was just a wee infant child when I got baptized.
What church?
It was Sanford Methodist Church in Midland County. My grandmother is a lifetime member of that church, and it is where my mother got baptized. Actually, same church.
How old were you?
An infant.
Yeah.
I was 0.
My kids got baptized as infants in the Catholic Church, and then I divorced their dad, and I ended up, joining a Baptist church. And so they talked about them getting baptized, and they're like, "We've been baptized." So every church does it differently. A lot of Baptist churches wait until a person is conscious of their faith, so that people can make decisions around baptism. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more like, ethical, honestly. Because as a baby, like what? Now I'm just permanently a Christian Methodist.
We're saving your soul. We're saving your soul.
So like, there's a song that I listen to, and it's like I listen to it like reoccurringly when I need to that motivation. It's actually by the artist Dizzy 8. Shout out Dizzy 8. He's probably never going to hear this podcast, but hopefully he does. It's 2 songs by him that I listen to a lot. That when you listen to the lyrics, you can actually get the grasp of what he's trying to talk about. It's Against the Odds and then Different. When you listen to the lyrics of those 2 songs, it's very sentimental. You can hear where he's trying to come from, trying to motivate people to be themselves, to work hard for what you need and what you want, to not let nobody knock you down. I like that kind of motivation when I listen to music, so I can know that I'm not like everybody else, and I can push myself to my best.
Yeah, who wants to be like everybody else?
I'm gonna make sure Dizzy 8 hears that. I'm gonna send it to him.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to Dizzy 8. I looked him up.
Yeah.
Sam and I were looking him up at the same time. I never heard of him, but
Me neither.
It sounds like you listen to music and actually listen to the lyrics, and those lyrics mean something to you. I've always been that way too, so I'm connecting on that front. My question is now, we've talked about you, we've talked about whatever, but how can you, Kenneth, encourage your peers to get more knowledgeable about politics? What could we do? What is the format or the framework for increasing knowledge?
Well, first thing to set the foundation is to not think about what's going to happen in the present and look what's going to happen within the future, because whatever choice that you make now is going to impact you months, years, centuries, decades later from now. And then also understanding that you shouldn't just go off of what someone else tells you, and you should take your own undivided research on things before just jumping to conclusion about something. And then verifying your facts and information before going off what someone told you.
Oh, all right. Well, that sounds exciting, but I think that we have to get people listening. Have you been paying attention to this mayoral race?
The men of my own race?
The mayoral race in Detroit. The race for mayor.
Last time I looked at it was when the last time I was on podcast about it. Besides that, I haven't been keeping track.
Yeah,
of
you helped us interview Santil Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
I
did a
remember
great
that.
job. Yep. So who, based on your knowledge, do you think you would vote for if you could vote today? Do you have a preference? Is there anybody you've heard that stood out?
It's between Kenlock and Jenkins. Mm-hmm. And I say that because of their ideals and the kind of impact they want to give into the community. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of Duggan, but at the same time it doesn't, because it's not Duggan. So I'm on the fence of both of them right now.
So what are their ideals? What are their ideals?
Like the aspect of them regarding to the youth. That was the first thing that caught my attention when they was talking about the youth. Then like Detroit itself, like regarding to the city and the health of the city. So it's like, okay, y'all are looking at it from a bigger aspect, but at the same time, I need more of an eye catcher for me to lean on to you about your aspects and ideals.
Mm-hmm. So you probably need some more education on where they're standing and all of that kind of stuff. So if we were to enlist you in educating some of your peers, do you think they would look at a comic book? Would they look at a YouTube? What kind of thing would get them to pay attention?
Music. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be from music.
Okay.
Well, you know that some of the music artists that are from here have shouted out Mary Sheffield on songs, Big Sean and Ice Vezzo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Probably because they like them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't care, because I don't pay attention to the lyrics of them kind of songs. When I hear somebody that I know, I'm like...
So we're going to have to get Skilla 8 to make a song about Mayor.
Skilla Baby, yeah.
Skilla Baby.
He supports
no.
Mary too. You know, they did a gun buyback program that he actually sponsored. He didn't show up to the event, but he put his name on the event and told people to support her gun buyback program. Skilla actually just survived an attempt on his own life.
Yeah.
He was shot in the head and the hand.
Yeah, just recently.
Yeah,
Everybody
like
was
last
going
month.
crazy about it. Yeah. And personally, something I've noticed too is that a lot of people like Skilla Baby, especially in my age group. Mm-hmm. So like if he were to make a song about politics and stuff for the youth, I feel like people kids will actually try and put some attempt to it, especially if the song is good and they're listening to it over and over and over, so they get the grasp of it and then they start impacting.
All right, so we've got music.
Yeah.
What else?
Skilla Baby, if you're listening, Skilla, we need a politics song from you.
We're going to send this. We're going to make sure Skilla Baby hears this too, right?
Yes, we are.
And I did not call you Skilla 8. That was Dizzy 8. I meant to say. I just got the names wrong, right?
And Skilla Baby.
Yeah.
I've actually met Skilla Baby a few times. Played basketball with him. He's a nice guy.
All right. Well, this has been really, really, really interesting, just getting your point of view. And what did you get out of before we close, what did you get out of your interview with Jenkins? Because she's the one candidate you had an opportunity to interview, right?
Yeah, that was the only person I did.
What did you get out of her? What were your takeaways?
To be honest, Donna, I can't even remember the majority of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm going to send you a copy of
yes.
that recording so you can listen again and then pull it back up. So when we have you on again, you're going to talk about it. We're actually going to have an election night watch party here. And we want to have fun. We want to just spend some time talking about this. And I'd love for you to be there as well as some other young people because, again, it's your future. It's not mine. And I really want to see young people empowered, encouraged, told we believe in you. Because I think that one of the reasons people disconnect is they feel like people don't care about their voices and their needs. And I think we've got to reverse that. All right. So any closing thoughts?
I just enjoyed this conversation, learning a bunch of new Christian rap artists. Rock as well, Christian rock bands. My Christian rap ended at Lecrae. Malice also made some Christian rap. You don't know Clips probably, but Malice was a Christian rapper for a decade.
Yeah.
No,
I heard that. So I actually listened to the Clip album.
It's good.
It's good, but
Pharrell, he's kind of doing a little bit too much. Some of those songs.
Yeah.
Without Chad, also the Neptunes. They're done. Ain't no more Neptune, so peace Saturn is what Malice said on the song. Yeah, I appreciated you coming on here, Kenneth.
Gotta have you back.
Drake or Kendrick?
Kendrick all day.
Yeah.
Oh, come
I
on now.
figured.
Yeah.
No.
I knew I liked you. All right.
And your peers, though, what is it like? What is the how many out of 10 are going for Kendrick and how many are going for Drake?
Everybody I've heard said Kendrick.
Really?
Especially after I heard Not Like Us. I'm like,
Okay.
Drake, you just put it down. Push Up was your only good song.
Oh,
Yeah.
Push-ups. He was going after Kanye in that one. He didn't even. That was for Pusha T,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh no, the push-up song was for Kendrick.
Kendrick.
Yeah.
But like, the only reason why I like Push Up and it's the only Drake song that's on my playlist too. It's like I like the beat to it,
Okay.
and I like the motion of it, and then the beat
Yeah.
drop at the end. I like it.
He's
But
going hard. He needs to make more songs where
Like
he's
that.
rapping like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he just needs to, because he needs to just understand maybe his time is come and gone. Everybody's time is not forever. And the way
time's
he
long
has,
gone.
the way he has acted since everything is just kind of, he's kind of disqualified himself from
Yeah.
future serious conversations.
What's 2019 Drake at?
Oh, well,
I don't know. Where's 2016 Drake, man? 2012, 11 Drake, man. That's what I need.
I think it's the beard.
Can I
it's the
ask
beard.
one last closing
it's
question?
not the braids.
Yeah.
The braids could be it too. Pulling his brain.
Aiden Ross. Do your peers? How do we feel about Aiden Ross? He's another streamer. I know you didn't mention him. Good thing.
To be honest, I don't hear nobody talk about
No one
it.
talking about. Okay, this is good. This is good. It's restoring my faith and humanity over here, man. We don't care about Aiden Ross.
Aiden Ross is 2020.
All right.
Yeah, he's
him
back.
there.
Yeah, leave him.
I don't know
Oh my
who
God,
he
that's
is.
great.
I'm not
He's
sure
terrible.
I want to. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we
thank
don't like
you.
him. Drake likes Aiden Ross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Nicki Minaj. Have you seen anybody
Yeah,
shoot themselves in the foot more than she has?
Kanye. Yeah, Ye West.
Well, I mean, but he has, so I guess she might have some mental health issues too. Because it's like, girl, you are at war with everybody here, and I don't know if it's a good look.
No.
When people just go to war on social media, angry, kind of sad. But, Megan's in love.
She is. You win more with the honey than you do
To be
stinging
honest,
people.
it should have been me.
And on that note,
I'm so happy to see her in love. I love love. I love seeing people get happy and overcome things. And I just love seeing a smile on somebody's face
Yeah.
who has been through so much and so many attacks. So,
yeah.
Let's just see how long it's going.
well, I believe it'll last. I have faith in it.
Yeah, I
People said
hope
the
so,
same thing
too.
about Sierra and Russell. When you
Right.
find somebody who believes in you and loves you, you are no longer the same.
This is kind of a similar, your comparison, Sierra and Russell Wilson, is
Yes.
kind of very similar to Clay and Megan. It's
Yeah,
kind of very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, you become a different person when you find your person. And I can say that personally. Anyway, thank you
That's a
so
good
much.
read, Donna. That was a good one.
Thank you so much for listening to the Black Detroit Democracy Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on our platforms. And, of course, support Black independent reporting on Detroit1million.com because good journalism costs. And
Yes, it does.
read the Michigan Chronicle political reporting from our very own Sam Robinson.
Yes,
All right.
that one's free.
All right, that one's free.